Hello
My
and
my beautiful
welcome
face.
once again to Wandering Monster America's Test Table, where we don't play test games, we stress test them. My name is John Baltusberger.
I am Charles R. Bernard,
Ian Servas.
Mr. Peshke.
and it is my genuine pleasure to introduce you to what will probably be our sword swingingest episode of Wandering Monster, or at least the most historically accurate sword swingingest. Yeah, tonight we're sort of abandoning fantasy for the realm of the actual, and that's not a strange thing. Most people, when they think about tabletop gaming or at least TTRPGs, they go back to like 74 to 77, the whole, the coming of Gygax and so forth. But actually, it goes back a lot further than that. In fact, war gaming is as old as military strategy. And mock battles have been fought since his ancient historical times. And interestingly, one of the first modern manuals for such a game was crafted by none other than Mr. H.G. Wells, who in 1913 published a book called Little Wars that was a set of standardized military rules for playing with toy soldiers for like young people. And it was to teach them a more disciplined manner of play than just like how I used to do with GI Joes and so forth. And so it's interesting to get a game that is more historically rooted, since history is where such games come from. And Ian, why don't you tell us about tonight's selection?
Absolutely. So we have a really fascinating game that's built on the chassis of D&D 3.5 for people, those who kind of remember the early aughts and so forth of D&D history. So it takes that kind of flexible rule set and really infuses it with lots of options where you can really scale in how much crunch you want that reflects HEMA and or historic European martial arts, if I got that right, Mr. Pashke.
And let me bust in
yeah.
there. I forgot to mention in our introduction, we have an enthusiast for historic European martial arts right here on this very stream. It is the
John?
faceless gentleman with the sharp thing. Oh yeah, and John too.
It's not sharp. It's dull.
Oh,
Weird.
that's right.
Dull and
The
blunt.
theoretically sharp thing. And what kind of sword is that, Pashke?
This is a fetter, which if you want to get into semantics, it's not sharp and it's not designed to be sharp, so therefore not a sword. Um, so it's a tool that's used for when you're fighting your friends and hitting each other and stabbing each other and like 15 by 15 foot square, and it's a lot of fun. I heavily recommend it. The HEMA community is rapidly growing. It's an awesome sport that, if you've ever dreamed of like playing with the sword as a kid, there are people that had that dream and figured out that we can do this. And here are historical references that we can learn from. So yeah, HEMA, check it out. It's awesome. I'm going to take this helmet off. It's warm.
So,
Yeah.
based off of HEMA, this game is definitely inspired by that, or in other types of games that also came out at the same time as 3.5, such as The Riddle of Steel. This really seeks to make and replicate authentic medieval combat in a very fast and approachable way. One of the most notable features is that depending on how skilled and trained your character is, you have a pool of d20s that you allocate on the different types of combat maneuvers that you do. Whereas in 3.5, you have so many standard type actions, bonus actions, reactions, and attacks of opportunity. Instead, it takes that and really makes you think tactically about how much do you go in on an attack by spending so many dice on that attack versus reserve it for defense or for tactical responses to your enemy's flubs and such. So definitely this is a really exciting game for people who really like historic combat and then also like the OGL system that you can really insert the amount of levels and crunch that you like. So it just hits a sweet spot for me where it's approaching a lot of crunch without really having to be like Pathfinder bean counting. So,
And if you want to find that on itch, you can find the link, or is it on Kickstarter? I forget.
It's on Drive Through RPG, and
Thank
so
you.
it was written by John Henry Chandler, and that's actually the It's over the 54th edition of the manual. It constantly goes through lots of revision and is full of historical real-world information. So the whole suite of books is actually on the Christmas and July discount sale. So you can get the books as cheap as $8 a PDF, and there's a lot of content.
We do have a
Tonight's-
poll in the chat for the Twitch chat right now for what your favorite kind of sword is. The options are a pane, a mangosh, a sharp one, a big one, and a rapier. Originally, the big one was a bastard sword, but that violated Twitch's code of behavior.
That's funny.
So vote that, and maybe you'll see one of these swords. I don't know swords.
I like that your poll is like, which is your favorite unaliving tool? Because like we have to like adapt to like Twitch language.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just for the record, tonight's particular manual is Codex Militarum. Martialis. Thank you.
Martialis.
From Codex Integrum. Which,
I think I have an Aunt Martialis.
Possibly. I don't know.
I do.
So do you want to go to our game screen?
We've been in the game screen for a while, my friend.
Okay, then I will just let Ian take it away.
Absolutely.
Oh.
So go ahead.
I was going to say, I'll let you do it, but we should introduce our characters before we just dive in.
Absolutely. As specification, the Codex Martialis gives further rules such as advanced feats, and advanced combat styles that really adds an extra layer. So we're going to be playing with a majority of those rules, some things truncated just for time and brevity, but we will be playing through the introductory module that is included with all the core books, which is a step into the larger module called the Devil's Pass. So we'll see what type of stress testing our fine folks get into this evening. By stress testing, it's usually how much can they stress me out. No, it's good. All right. So without further ado, allow our colorful cast to introduce themselves.
I'll start. I am Jan. I am a tin can with a halberd and a long sword and a knife. That's pretty much my story.
My name is Andreas. Calls from Hamburg, Germany, right? It says level 3 soldier and level 3 sailor. So is that just level 3 and soldier or sailor?
It's a multi-classing there that you are getting a little bit of both of those skills kind of reflected in the weapons and items that you carry.
Military background.
I've actually got 3 classes in my little setup, but yeah, cool.
Yeah, the longsword makes sense for the soldier to me, but I'm not an expert on HEMA stuff, but I am definitely an enthusiast. But yeah, so let's lean towards soldier for flavor. Go with that.
I am Jose Silva. I am a Portuguese pirate.
Dope.
Pirate's a relative term. Just depends whose flags you're sailing.
No, I'm a buccaneer. I'm a privateer. Well, no, I'm just a plain pirate.
Buccaneer is a specific region.
Some of them were true
A
pirates.
buccaneer refers to actually. Okay, look, I don't know shit about history, but I do know pirates. Buccaneer refers specifically to the way pirates were cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Specifically, the word barbecue.
The word barbecue.
That they got from the Tainos. And
That I did not know.
And I'm dating a Taino, so.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, fascinating.
Yeah.
No, it's just kind of cool because there's this whole. I mean, not cool because people and so many native persons were enslaved and damaged and exploited by privateers and pirates and other things. So there's definitely some odd legacy there. But yeah, anywho, about the side go into genealogy. But that is, let us set the stage for what's happening here, because unlike other fantasy worlds, we are actually dealing with like real world areas. So the year is 1452 and takes place in the heavily forested region of Franconia within the Holy Roman Empire. This land has been quite devastated by war and civil feuding. and many towns and villages have been sacked and burned. So even though the war ended about a year ago in a treaty between Nuremberg and the regional knights, many of the local barons are still heavily engaged in a complex web of feuds, which some use as a pretext for robbery and kidnapping. And that's what brings our three heroes front and center into the stage here. The three of you have been asked to bring a ransom payment to a notary in the city of Rothenburg, about 84 kilometers to the west, or roughly about 2 days' ride from your starting point in the city of Nuremberg. At the end of a long day of travel through the forest, riding with an extra set of horse for the youngster being the son of a wealthy merchant of Zwickau named Franz Tucker. His nephew, Antonius or Anton Tucker, was kidnapped by a dreadful robber who was leveraging him for a hefty ransom. So, you are traveling with an extra horse that you can reclaim, pay the bounty, reclaim this merchant's son, and the exchange is going to be happening outside the small hamlet of Stangbach on Wald, where you will find the well-regarded inn Zerhol. As you make your way past several wrecked and burnt-out houses, it is clear that the hamlet has been sacked during the recent war, but you soon recognize the inn from its coat of arms, a grinning devil. It's an old, half-timbered compound of 3 buildings, all seemingly intact, and smoke rising from the chimney, apparently still occupied. You can see that as you approach in from the highway that there is stables for your horses, and you see a stable boy inside tending to another horse inside. You could hear the sounds of busyness and activity from within and around the inn itself. So with that, I will let you begin the scene, either putting up your horse in the stable, scouting out the area, and whatnot. The one thing I'd like the three of you to decide before we progress is which one of you is carrying this bounty, which is 100 gulden, or are you splitting it between the three of you to vouchsafe?
I wouldn't mind carrying it, but if you guys wanted to split it, equally good.
Let's let Mr. Paschke do it. He volunteers. In my experience, the guy holding the money is usually the one what gets sworded. So
that's exactly what I was like. Who's carrying this loud, large sack of 100 large coins?
Jingling along the highway.
That money don't fold; it jingle jangle.
References. But yeah, so I guess stable the horses, get that taken care of.
Agreed.
Cool. Hey there, stable lad. How are you today?
Your voice is weak and weary after a long day of traveling, and your tongue is just completely covered in road dust. The boy looks up to you, and he's covered in sweat and hay and other things. There's this very dusty cloud of hay, and it seems like he has just recently shoveled out all of the fun leftover parts of horsing and replaced it with a fresh bed of hay. So the boy introduces himself as Pavel. He's a young boy, probably just almost around the coming of age, but still very round and youthful in his face. He remembers his manners, wipes off his hands, and takes your horse's rein and safely escorts your horse into a pen.
Back up one moment to the description. You were talking about the hamlet being burned, and you said there was smoke rising from this 3-tiered structure. Is it rising from it because it's on fire, or like from a fireplace?
It's from the fireplace.
Okay.
More of a sign of activity, although it did give you pause for concern, as you did see that at first, judging that there were some buildings that you passed by that were completely gutted, but it is intact.
So one building out of 3 is intact.
Yes, actually, you see a couple different structures right across from the stable, by let's say about 90 feet. There is a shed. Not sure what's inside it. The door is shut. Closer to the inn itself, on the west southwest corner, there is the privy. Just enough further away that when the wind catches, it's not going to blow into the inn itself. And on the opposite side, just due south of the inn, there is a cistern as well.
So the meeting place is to be the inn? Like, that was our instructions, or?
You're going to be taking the ransom payment to a notary in the city of Rothenburg. So
we are on route.
So you are 1 day. So you've done 1 full day of travel because it takes 2 to get to the city. So it is getting to approach evening. So the time where after you can only ride a horse so long in your tin can before you're completely chafed and tired.
Boy,
plus the horse,
you don't have to tell me. Yeah. Oh my God. So I would vote that we, water our horses at the cistern, tie them up, go grab.
Make sure they're getting fed.
Yeah, and make sure that we have some. Like, I don't know. Do they probably sell meat pies in this place? Something like that, And I gotta get out of this tin can.
Yeah, the tavern would probably have some kind of a meal that they're preparing, where we just be like, "Yeah, give me a plate of it."
I'll have a big haunch of that.
Yeah, I hope that it's not rancid meat, because then we're all gonna have to eat that.
I hope there's enough pepper to cover the taste of rancid meat.
I hope the pepper's not so old it's lost all of its flavor and they have to put a pound of it in for it to do anything.
So
the smell is also atrocious, by the way. Just across the board.
That's what it's like living in the medieval era. So I'm assuming the other 2 of you deposit your horses into the stables as well, and then check into the inn. So when you enter this place, you're immediately accosted with the scent of turnip. Well, you assume it's turnip. It's some type of root vegetable stew. It kind of has that high-pitched, acrid, sulfur-y kind of note to it, which then gives way to like a deep, rich bouillon scent. The tavern itself, there's a fresh fire that has been stoked to kind of take the incoming edge of the evening's chill. But you see that there are several long tables here, but there are no other guests. You see that there is a kind of red-cheeked innkeeper that seems to be quite busying himself. And when you first run and open the door, he's a little bit kind of surprised to see you there, before he cleans his grubby paws off in his apron and introduces himself as Hans Peck.
Well, Hans Peck. Are those cheeks so rosy because you have something strong in this tavern of yours?
Well, maybe
schnapps.
Mayhaps for the the peng type here. I've been stoking the fire for the stew. We've got a stew that has been going almost the whole day, so it's a fork tender, or I guess knife tender.
And I'm assuming that the drink is turnip schnapps.
No, we've got a little bit of a fortified brandy that I soak some raspberry leaves in it, and some raspberries that I get from the bramble patch out back just past the privy. So it's got a little bit of a bite to it, and it's got it'll get you to what you need. Why don't you come on in? We'll get you hooked up. And as he says that, he yells to Marta, what? Get the schnapps. And there's the
turnip schnapps.
The good shit.
She does come out with a turnip schnapp. No, it's not turnip schnapps. It's turnip beer.
Can we carve a turnip into a shot glass and pour schnapps into it?
I love that.
If you ask
You
for
can't
a
stop
raw
us.
turnip,
Is really the thing.
no, I said
Like,
if
we're
you ask
gonna
for
do
raw
it.
turnip, you'll get a raw turnip. It'll just be added to your bill at the end of everything. But absolutely, Hans looks a little bit puzzled, but he understands just that different townsfolk have different customs, and he brings you raw turnips that you can whittle. Um, his wife, the martyr they keep shouting at, brings you your bowls of stew, and she gives you a long look, especially at you, Jose, of your swarthy appearance, and gets back to busying herself in the kitchen.
The Francs never change.
So there is an opportunity that if you want to tell stories, engage in banter, explore the area, you can certainly do so. Also, in the interest of time, we can also fast forward to the next day as well, since we do have or more limited time, depending on what
Yeah.
you're stress testing.
I mean, I don't foresee stabbing anybody at this establishment. So I just
some light, like, how's the weather? What's things been? But yeah, I don't see much either.
yeah. So
I
let's
think
just
we're all
fast
pretty
forward.
exhausted from riding all day long.
My tin can is chafing real bad. So yeah, let's just fast forward through a night of me applying ointment and get through.
No,
the
I'd like to
riding
play
the
that
next
actually.
All right.
It puts the lotion on its skin, or else it rolls the d12 again.
Can I roll for finding the correct leaves to help our friend? I got 2 1s. What do I give him?
Wait, are you actually serious?
Poison
You got
oak?
2 1s?
No, I'm not serious.
Hey, the way the
I
rolls
wasted a
were done
19 on that.
last week, I would not be surprised.
Yeah. Yep. And yeah, we'll see how I do tonight. I've not been doing well with the dice.
We will need to later check the starch content on a turnip to see if it is a source of fermentables. It is probably unlikely to be fermentable, but I will research that on off air for certain.
Yeah, okay.
Unless someone wants to take that upon themselves. So you grease each other up, find your leaves, whatever it is you're doing, and you will fast forward conveniently to the next day. So, morning of October 12th, 1452. Sky is cloudy and dark, and there is a soft rain falling in the distance. As you are waiting for breakfast, perhaps another repeat of stew, or maybe it's going to be chicken eggs or something to that effect. A young fellow enters the inn. He is good looking and expensively dressed, seemingly of noble bearing, but seems a little bit road weary, which is odd, especially being this early in the morning. He wears half armor under his clothing and carries a war pick in his left hand and a sword on his hip. He introduces himself as Johann Esbeck, a nobleman from Alsace, before immediately walking over to the fire to warm his hands.
Man, I don't know shit about European history. I think
So
we're like
is there a reason
somewhere
any
in
of us should care?
No, I'm trying to place us. Are we like within the borders of what would nowadays be considered France or Germany?
So we're
I mean,
in
I'm
the
not.
Holy Roman Empire, so that's parts
Okay.
of Germany, France. We're in the Germany-France region, from what I can recall. I'm not an expert either. If it doesn't pertain to swords,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm sorry I asked. Let's just let's keep on this reign. Well, actually, the nobleman. So I'm intrigued by that. He's from Alsace. He's dressed in armor. He's got a weapon. So obviously,
two weapons.
One of us could throw down with him. 2 of us could if he's got 2 weapons.
All 3 of us could throw it out with him, and then we'd win.
I like those odds. Yeah.
And the cut of your jib, Patchkey.
Yeah. No. Like so. I don't know. Like I'm trying to find my motivation because we're headed to a ransom drop off, and I kind of want to get to that and not get distracted by random travelers.
Yeah, we
Unless
are
our
on the
goal is
job.
to, yeah, unless our goal is to find out about this. Do we know if they're like a gang or the captors? I mean,
So you don't know much other than what you've been kind of told is for your initial mission, but it could be something that you could ask Hans or this guest if they've known of brigand activity in the area or if there have been um, hazards along the road, especially since it's been raining, perhaps, if that might be something that could delay your journey further towards Rothenburg.
Yeah, we should check with the Fancy Lad Mc2 weapons to see if like why he got here so early and not like last night, or any news of the road. News of the road.
So does that mean
Well
that
put.
you're heading over to ask that, Andreas?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, since you are greeting this a nobleman for the first time and you are of a lower status than he, go ahead and make me a diplomacy roll. So add your d20 plus 7 to that.
24.
All right. So you present yourself quite well with good bearing. All the years spent of discipline of soldiering has given you your proper deference to authority. The man rubs his hands together, shakes off a little bit more of the rain that has collected on his raiments, and turns to address you. And he goes, "Well, yeah, I was traveling last night, and my horse pulled up lame a couple miles back up the road, and I had to walk all this way by myself. You don't happen to have a spare horse that you could sell?"
No, I'm afraid we don't have a horse that we could part with. All of ours are much necessary.
Oh,
Much.
unusual. There seem to be 3 of you, but there are 4 horses stationed. Are these men your compatriots?
Aye, they are.
Might one of them have a horse to sell?
No.
where are you?
You-
Where art thou bound? Is what I would ask him, or whatever the equivalent is. Where are you headed, stranger?
Why are you counting our horses? Is what I'm thinking.
Because I
Yeah.
need a horse. I'm out here in the middle of nowhere.
I didn't
And
say it out loud.
Oh,
My inner John.
My hope is that we can use the horse to give him a ride as far as where we're going, but we'd have to keep an eye on him the whole time. Maybe we just tell him to get stuffed. What do you guys think?
Look, we need that horse for our like pickups. Complicating the situation's not good for us.
I am
I mean-
100% always happy to tell the man to get bent,
Yeah,
regardless
true.
regardless of the medium.
I mean, sure. Why don't you do it?
Because he's not talking to me.
Fair enough.
well, you could talk to
I mean, I've told him that we're not partying with a horse, and that I don't think you guys have horses to part
Also,
with.
what language
Yeah.
is he speaking?
French.
You-
Then I don't have a fucking clue what he's saying.
Yeah, I'm
Ron,
all good
you
with-
could just walk up and quirt him across the chops.
I will assume that you're all communicating in the same language of the region, which you are all familiar with.
Yes, that one. Very well spoken to this day.
It's Low Gothic.
Actually, it's probably Catalan.
It might be.
Like,
Yeah, we're gonna have to let this guy go and just tell him that it's kind of none of his business, none of his concern. Regrettably, so sorry, sir. Perhaps if thy prayers are answered.
He looks notably disgruntled by this, and he kind of sucks in his teeth a little bit. And he gives you a once over, especially you, Andreas. He seems to look you from head to toe, and like he's thinking.
Wish in one hand and stab a guy in the other and see which one fills with
No.
blood first, I guess.
So he's like, well, then I suppose the only thing that would remedy the situation would be...
We'll send word when we get to the next town that you need a horse. We'll help you in that way.
Lightly kind, but I think the only thing that's going to remedy this is beer. Barkeep, a flagon of ale. And he sits down after kind of warming and drying himself at the fire, and just kind of plumps down and waits for a beer to be bought for him. As my cats are going nuts.
It's like he's waiting for one of us to buy him a beer.
Oh, no, not at all. That's
good because we're leaving.
So, are you? So,
yeah, I'm gonna go outside and get my horse ready.
I'm not staying for breakfast then.
No.
Okay. So Hans brings over a pint of ale for the traveler, for Johann, and you overhear him as you're preparing to leave to ask for a loaf of bread, which he buys and then leaves as well. As you are getting ready for your horses, getting your horses ready, you see him again, just kind of as he's walking up the road, kind of just eyeing you and your horses, and he mutters to himself, having chugged a whole flagon of ale, and it is going further on the westward road.
I mean, the ale would be less alcoholic in this day and age, so he's probably not that drunk, actually.
No, I didn't say he was drunk.
Okay. We probably all might have had ale for breakfast, given the time period.
That's true.
Throwing that out there.
8% or 2%, yeah.
And where did he get this bread? Breakfast time. That's not ready yet. Not back then. Toast was not invented.
He didn't have toast. He's asked for a loaf of bread.
I'm sorry. I will not.
I have worked on this podcast for years before I met any of you, and you're not going to turn this into goddamn high school. Do you hear me, Patchkey? We're too goddamn long and hard on this.
I'm sorry.
See, that's the problem. Is like when I'm like split between all these screens, or like reading a module and checking Twitch. That like sometimes I'll miss your witty comments, so I will catch that when I listen to this playthrough. And I'm like, oh, he said that. All right.
He didn't say anything inflammatory. I'm just angry.
Oh, okay. That's per usual.
Let's get the fuck on up the road and meet these bandits.
Let's go.
All right. So it takes some time to get your horses dressed and all of the components to get you up and saddled and ready. So about an hour or so later, the three of you are back on horseback and are going to approach, continue on your journey. So the rain seems to be letting up a little bit, but it's still quite tempestuous in the distance. You can see there's kind of off and on showers. So you know this is going to be a pretty miserable day, especially for you, Mr. Tin Can. Outside, as you advance with your horses on that west road, you, I guess, are you the three going up, taking the road abreast, or are you going single file in a line?
Interesting question. I would say single file in a line, probably.
Yeah, especially with the other horse. That way it just kind of knows to stay with the group.
We always travel single file, the better to hide our numbers.
Yeah.
All right, so then what is your trotting order?
I'll take the lead. I'm, built like a tin shithouse, so...
Right. So we have Jan. Who's next?
I'll go next.
All right.
All right, so I'll leave the horse and the spare horse in the creamy middle, and I'll be in the back.
Good idea.
Like that will be the order. So as you are coming around a bend, Jan, make me a spot check. So for you, that is going to be A D20 plus 4.
D20 plus 4. Just 1 second while I figure out which one of you it is. There we go. That would be 15.
A 15. And that would be... All right. So as you are coming around a bend, you can see that there's just tons of mud up ahead. And as you are, encouraging your horse onward, you hear in the still of the forest this mechanical clang and twang sound, and there is a loud thwump and scream as your horse gets plugged with a crossbow bolt right in the chest. Give me a ride check. Let's see if you hold on. So give me a D20, and you're going to add 1 to that.
Oh, I'm probably boned. Never mind. Yeah, that's a 10. With
10.
the plus 1. Yeah.
All right. So one more time, you're going to make me a strength check. So it's going to be a D20 plus 2.
Okay. And that would be a D20. Let's see. The 9 plus 2 is 11.
11. So you are bucked off of your horse, and your horse is bleeding profusely, and it takes off running forward. You see up ahead that there is a log, and you see the little bit of reflective metal on the edge of some type of crossbow and a little bit at the top of the head. You hear the sound of cranking, and then you hear another sound of twang as a bolt fires out. So we're going to treat this as a surprise. So you're not going to be having a active defense, but you'll be having a passive defense. So let us see. I think there's only one.
Passive, 6, I think.
So the crossbow bolt goes completely over your head, and you see the head of Johann Eisbeck pop from behind the log and says, "Should have sold me your horse, swine."
Someone's gonna die.
And it's going.
Why is he out here cranking if he wants to fight us?
That. So as you postulate that out loud, from behind the log, you see that there are 2 other men that climb over the log and approach you in the road, bounding towards the prone form of Jan. So we're going to go ahead and roll for initiative here. So the 2 of you are on horseback, also holding a horse. You have completely lost your horse, Jan. You have not taken damage from the fall, but you are prone, and there are men swiftly approaching you who are going to open your tin can painfully and slowly. So each of you have different initiative scores. So we'll do this in order of initiative for tactical combat's sake. So we will. I'm going to. I guess we'll do this. Hold up here. Let me write down my. So Johann. And we'll keep this initiative order for the duration of the fight.
I just want to say right up front that that crossbow motherfucker is mine.
You're not sure who it is, but judging by the witty, or I guess not witty, by the charged insult, it probably is Johann.
Yeah, Johann. Johann's ass is mine.
All right. I just rolled almost the same thing 3 times in a row. All right. So you have 3 different antagonists that are advancing on you. So let us start at the top. Jan, what is your initiative?
Oh, I didn't know I had to roll for that. I assumed it was part of the falling off on my horse thing.
So everyone's going to be rolling for initiative. So I'll do... Jose, what was your initiative?
24.
Dang. You have those sailor-like reflexes. All right. Andreas, what is your initiative?
23. I thought I got to go first.
Mine's lousy. I'm last.
Okay. All right, Jan. I'm assuming you got what did you get?
I rolled a 7, and you
All
said
right.
it's a +4 on initiative. That's like 11. So
All right, hey, it's
I'm
just
just
good to
lying
know.
there,
So at the
lying there
top,
on the ground.
so at the top of the initiative, you see a figure that is wearing an arming jacket, an iron cap, that is bounding towards you, um, Jan. You see in his hand that he has a Ruger that he is, like he's hold poised, a big, thick dagger that looks like it's going to try to pierce and rend your armor open. He charges forward towards you, and he gets a free die since you are lying in prone. So he's going to use a 2-die attack. Actually, he'll go ahead and do a 3-die attack. 19, 19 plus 4. 27.
So this is a piercing attack, right?
That is
he's making?
correct. So he is has engaged you with a 27 attack. You are still defending currently with your passive at the moment here. So you are going to be in a bad spot. So he is going to try to bypass your armor and get to the sweet meats below. So your armor as with bypass is 7. All right, yep. So he is bypassed for a value of 6.
Fuck.
So he is able to bypass and get to your nice tasty bits. So that
that's
is
6
a
HP.
1d8 plus what?
Oh, I
You
thought
have
you were saying that
36
was...
hit points. I
Yeah.
rolled a 1 on damage. So this man charges and pins you down as kind of like grapple maneuver and tries to just carve you open. He'll as you struggle against him, he only slices you for 3 points of damage as he kind of drags a rend through your armor. His compatriot, he reserves a die for defense. His compatriot comes up alongside of him. He's wearing a light armor coat with an iron cap, and he has a savage grin on his face as he has a spear that he kind of saunters over to glunge at you. So he's just going to stab straight at you without trying to bypass your armor. He's going to use 2 dice to attack you. Best attack he has there is a 27. So he is able to puncture your armor. Let's see here. With his spear, he inflicts, let's see, 7. So that is 7 damage. So he takes his spear and he tries to puncture your armor to skewer you, but your armor just dents instead, and you feel it kind of compressing your organs, but luckily it absorbed the force of the blow. Next up in initiative is Johann. You see that he has a stirrup crossbow that he is pulling back and cranking, and he is getting ready to load another bolt. He spends a round arming that, and let's see, how many dice does he have?
Do any of us have a projectile weapon?
I do.
I don't. Oh, you do?
Okay.
I thought I did. Yeah, I have a crossbow.
So he takes 3 of his dice to load that, and that is actually the end of his turn. He spends his whole turn pulling back this massive crossbow because it was strong enough to actually just plug your horse pretty hard. Next up in initiative, we have Jose. Take it away.
Realistically speaking, I don't think I can get off my horse, draw my weapon, and go attack someone within a turn.
Well, you
Can
have
you attack them
basically
from
4
horseback?
actions that you can use. So if you want to burn your MP, that we will use one for dismounting and arming, and then you'd have 2 dice that you could use to either secure your horse or just forget it and engage in combat. So you could use both of those dice for attacking, or use 1 for attack and 1 for defense, or leave 2 for defense. So those are
Hey,
options.
Charles, Mr. Patchkey.
Yeah.
How is my big?
I forgot the Artful Strike. Thank you for that reminder.
How possible would it be to swing my heavy montante from horseback?
Not very good. First of all, you're on a horse, so two-handed weapons are. I've not done any horseback fighting because it's easier to take someone who knows how to ride a horse and teach them how to use a weapon versus someone who knows how to use a weapon and put them on a horse. I am barely good at one of the two things, and yeah,
I am pretty good at riding a horse.
I'll learn Montante and try it out.
Well, no, I mean my character is good at riding a horse. I'm
okay. Well, that's
horses
that's
bite
not.
me.
What
I
I've
think
seen
his
of
point
people
is that
using
you can only single wield while you're on horseback.
yeah, because you're gonna have to control it the horse with one hand, and usually what I've seen is a one-handed
Hold on
weapon
to the reins.
with horse. But I've seen like a poleaxe or something in pictures and such. I've never been interested, so I've not looked into it. It's
No, that's a total fair answer. Okay, yeah.
Now I am though, so thanks for a thing I'm gonna look up later.
I will dismount, arm, all the entire time. Like, hold on, 1 second, almost. Oh,
You could on
right,
page 71 of the Codex Martialis is all about mounted combat, so there is that option.
And then yeah, I secure my horse because I'm not walking. Sorry, Bernard.
Then
now that I am down off my horse and my horse is secured, I stand there with my weapon in hand and watch them kill Bernard.
So I'll leave you with 1 die that you could either use to.
Yeah, I'm not going to go defenseless.
Okay, so you're going to save that for an active defense in case someone attacks you.
I do
Just
say,
picture me. I'm on my back like a turtle, just like arms and legs waving.
And I do say, hey, stop it.
It was not very effective. John, you shout. So next of initiative is Andreas. So you're seeing this scene unfold. Your companion jumps off of his horse, hears it, and tactily kind of holds himself in reserve. What is your action?
All right, so to ready my crossbow would take 2 of my dice, and then I'm free to fire it from horseback.
So you're planning on firing from horseback? Is that correct?
Yeah, I've got a guy on the ground far enough away that I'm not going to be able to reach him. And the Montante discussion, longsword's shorter, sure, but it's still a two-handed weapon, and I don't want to use a dagger on a horseback because, you know.
that was my thought, yeah, because I have a dagger too, and it's just like, that's not.
So yeah, I'm gonna at least fire at one of the people trying to get my teammate, and from there, I'm on a horse.
So my question would be, your crossbow, unless you had it pre-cranked, takes 4 actions to crank. I'm not sure if you're traveling with a crossbow, if you'd be traveling with a pre-crank crossbow on a horseback.
Can I use my long sword with one hand? Because someone in the chat, not that I have that open, said longsword can be used one-handed. Because if that's the case, then I would just kind of ride over and start whacking away at him.
Do it.
All right. So
all right.
I will. All right. So go ahead and make me just a ride check. So Andreas, that's going to be a D20, and you're going to be adding in a 4.
Good, 4. That makes it 10.
Oh, fantastic. So that is what you need. So you position your horse and you are advancing towards those 2 figures that are stabbing your turtle of a friend. You take your long sword, and how many dice would you like to use to attack? So I'll treat this as that it's a standard movement, that it's included there, so you still have your 4 dice. Do you want to use them all in a attack, split it up into 2 attacks, or again reserve some for defense?
I'm going to use 2 of them for attack because that's what Meyer said to do. It's just you're better off attacking.
All right.
So I rolled a 10 and a 15. And
So are you doing 1 attack?
Yeah.
Okay. So 15.
I want to make sure I hit him.
Your 15 is your higher attack. So if you're a longsword, that is plus 11. So you have a 26. So that is an artful strike. So you are attacking downward from your longsword. So you have these. Are you going to be doing a chopping, piercing, or a what type of attack? I guess on the.
So, well, if I'm coming at him on a horse, I could stab. There's no reason why not to. Plus, it would make sense if I'm coming at him, right?
All right. We'll treat that as a pierce. Yeah, because you could do a chop pierce. All right. So you try to skewer the person who first started to open up his armor with the Ruger. So you
Appreciate you, pal.
So you advance upon. Right. Okay, so his armor for Pierce is just 5. Oh, well, that's great. All right. So this is going to go well for you. So since that's an artful strike, you're going to be rolling 2d10 plus 2.
2d10. That was a 7 and a 1.
All right, so that is 8 plus 4. So we'll do 12 minus your 7. So you lunge with your long sword using one of your horse, and after the damage reduction, you do 7 points of damage against this figure. He takes it in the shoulder blade as he's so concentrated on rending open Jan, and he screams bloody murders. He's just skewer him through. He turns and he's
That's right.
begins to curse in a foreign language that you're not familiar with, but you know that it is to be a pretty vile insult. So you still have 2 dice left. Do you reserve those, or are you making a second attack?
So he's still alive. I hit him once. I have 2 dice left. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna hit him one more time.
All right.
I'm not gonna hit him probably. I rolled a 5.
And so, are you using both dice or 1 die?
I used one of them because I want to.
All right.
You know,
so you
yeah.
pull your sword back and it's sliced, but he moves out of the way, holding the hole in his shoulder blade. And you see that he kind of double backs and gets into a defensive position. Okay, next order of business, Jan. So you are laying on the ground, and in order to get up from prone, you're going to be exposing yourself to attacks of opportunity. But until you get yourself up, anyone that attacks you is getting a free die against you. So you are basically at greater chance of being damaged until you get up.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna want to get up. How many die does that cost?
So that'll just cost you 1 since you're changing 1 positional movement. So just 1.
Okay, 1 movement to stand.
So you do that, and you get attacks of opportunity from these men who have held dice just for this situation. The man with the dagger who opened your armor is kind of distracted from the hole in his shoulder, so his attack goes completely wide as you push him out of the way. The second man with the spear times it just right, and he shanks you with his spear for 25, also making an artful strike. He inflicts 6, 7, 15. He does manage to find that dent that he made before, and he pierces his spear through that and into your gut. After your damage reduction, you take 5 points of damage to the gut. Definitely skewers right where that turnip stew was.
That does suck. That turnip stew is tasty, and I wanted to hang on to it, but guess it's going to leak out of me.
We're going to do
Then you
top.
can eat it.
What?
Eat it again. Joke.
Oh, that's right. So
Move
you still have 3 dice. My pardons.
So now that I've stood, do I need to like draw my halberd, or can I just set 2?
I will assume that you probably use your halberd in getting up, because you
Yeah.
said you were turtleback. I imagine it'd be lean yourself
Quite
up.
helpful. Yeah. So
All
let me see. I've got 3 die. I am going to take 2 dies worth of a whack at the dude with the spear, and that's 2d20, right?
That's you can use as many dice as you want, from 1 to 3.
Right. I said I'm gonna do 2 on Mr.
Yes.
Spear and hold 1 back for
Since
defense.
you're going to be doing that with oops, sorry, wrong person. Go ahead. So
No, with
character sheet.
So halberd is a d20 for roll 2 of
Yes.
those? Okay, great. First roll is a nat 1. Second roll is a 4. I fucking hate
So this was not going to go well for you, because one of them had 1 more die reserved, and the fact that you made a crit fail, and that leaves you open for a counterattack, and that person uses their last die to counterattack. That is the man with the spear. So he lunges at you again to try to make that hole even larger, and he does successfully do that, making an artful
We're talking about the
strike.
hole in my gut, not my armor at this point.
Why not both?
Maybe they're one. The armor's
that
bent
is
into your gut.
14
Now it is.
minus
Get
10.
that iron in your diet.
So that is another
4 points?
5 points of
5
damage.
points. So I'm still okay. I mean, I'm at like 23 HP, but I'm, not doing hot compared to these other cats.
So you still have 1 die left.
Yeah. I'm gonna hold that one back for defense, actually.
You know what? That is a good point. Luckily, we have, I'm assuming that's Jean in the chat, checking me on my flubs there. Technically, since you did use 2 dice, that would be, you don't technically get a crit fail, because your other dice supplants that. So we'll go ahead and mulligan that. So you don't actually get punctured, but you have this untimely image of, if you didn't maybe move out of the way, then you would have gotten skewered 1 more time. So you still have 1 extra die left that you can use for either an attack or reserve for an active defense.
I will reserve it for defense at this point. Yeah, thank you for the clarification.
Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to go top of the initiative in restored value without the surprise value. So that is going to be Jose first, followed by Andreas, Lothar, Johan, another the Mooks, and then lastly Jan. So Jose,
murder something.
You get your 4 dice back since it's at the top of the tree.
Right. I'm going to. How close together are these punk asses?
How close are they together?
To stab me.
So you have 2 that are converged right on Jan, and then you have 1 that's off the side of the road, using the log as a brace for this giant crossbow.
All right. Well, since Patrick, you told me the Montante is supposed to be for fighting multiple dudes at once, I'm going to come up beside Andreas, and I'm going to do use 2 MP on a slash towards the spear wielder.
All right. So you lunge forward. How many dice are you using?
2.
All right. Go ahead and roll your 2 dice. And since you're using heavy Montante, your attack will be at 12.
Pardon me?
Great foley on those dice rolls, by the way.
Thank you. I have a glass top. So that'd be I rolled a 12.
Is your highest value?
Yeah.
All right. So Jose, your heavy Montante on your first attack gets plus 12, so that makes you 24. So that's an artful strike. So you are going to be rolling. I guess that would be technically twice. So that would be 4d. I think it's technically one extra die. You're going to be rolling 3d8 plus 2. And are you using this as slashing, piercing, chopping? The person's wearing a light arming coat, so you know that that's not the best armor in the world. It's going to be most resistant against cuts because it's padded.
I think I'm chopping.
All right.
And I'm chopping down corner, kind of aiming towards this area right about here. For the collarbone, if you will.
Well, since like I said, like that like cut blunt is going to be the thing that absorbs the most, I'm going to assume you're going to be slashing at the exposed neck for maximum damage.
Sure.
It saves you 3 on your damage reduction.
Okay.
Do it.
Yes. Cleave
the
head.
That is a 13 damage. Then.
13 damage. So the armor soaks 3 of that, so you do 10 points of damage right on the get-go. You cause a massive slice in the neck, and blood is beginning to just fount out the side. He instinctively drops his spear to like plug fingers in his hole, and you see that he's just like wide-eyed.
Before he does that, can I take a free action to spit in the wound?
Absolutely.
His or mine?
Yes.
If he had pocket salt, so this would be the time.
I do not. Yeah. I do spit in the wound.
I like to think that this guy is bleeding into my gut wound, and that I'm now basically just like a tin can of beef stew that's been like opened by a monkey with a rock. You know, there's like
I kind of step between the second attacker whose neck is still in one piece and Andreas holding my sword in front of me, and I spit some vile curse in Portuguese at him.
Nothing but the best colorful sailor language. So you're then pivoting and attacking the second one?
No, I'm pivoting and defending. Andreas.
Okay. Thank you for specifying
or Jan.
that.
Which one do you mean?
Oh, sorry. I'm
Jan.
pivoting and protecting Jan.
All right, so you reserve 2 dice. Andreas, you see this guy with a spear just get his neck slashed, and he's this gouting blood. It does not look very pretty. You're still on top of your horse.
Yeah, so now that there's a Montante there, taking care of the situation, fantastic. I'm moving on to crossbow person.
Mm-hmm. So you close in with your horse towards the log, and you see as you're charging forward with your horse,
he's just still cranking.
He has cranked that hog, as it were.
Is he cranking it with his left hand or his right?
Oh well, that thing, because it's a stirrup, you have to like put your foot in it and pull back and latch it. Like it's a whole.
That's how I like to do it too.
He just did that and has it aimed. So he's on the other side of
the ages log. Before the fleshlights, right, guys?
Absolutely. So he's on the other side of this big fallen log that he's using as a brace. So your horse isn't going to be it's going to be very difficult for it to jump and maneuver unless you get off your horse in front of it to get him, because he's on the ground behind a log. You're on top of a horse in front of the log. How are you going to make your attack here?
All right, so I can't just jump the log.
You could certainly
you
make
can't
that
do
ride
like
check.
trample damage.
Well, he's on the other side of the log.
Okay, well, all right.
I mean, you certainly could try to make that as a maneuver and to see if you can't maneuver the horse around the log. So that's going to cost you at least 1 die and a ride check of a DC 15 to stay on the horse and to properly get it to trample if you want to do that as an action.
Or you could I don't know.
So do we offhand know what a trampoline action would hit points be?
That is a great question. And
if not, and it's easier, I get off my horse.
I'm going to
take a time.
assume that you have a light war horse, maybe not a heavy war horse. So that would be a 1d4 plus 3 damage for Hoofen.
So it's going to take me a dice to get off, right? And then a move to jump over and attack him?
I'll have that just be for sake of expediency. We'll just have that be 1 die. So we'll have it be, you'll have 3 dice. Now,
right, so
again,
from the
if you want to make sure your horse isn't if you want to secure your horse so it doesn't run off in combat from the stress, that's going to cost you a die as well.
All right, so that's only 2 to attack. At a certain point, it might be better just to do the horse damage. Like a maneuver around.
Yeah. Go for
I
it.
suppose if you wanted to try to maneuver around the log and still attack from on top of the horse, you could do that as well. Would you prefer that?
I would prefer the guy gets up, says, hello, stab me, and then we stab him.
All right.
But
as
that's
John
not what
said,
we get.
as John said, wish in one hand, stab with the other, see which one gets more blood.
Okay,
Well,
going for blood.
I did also specify that you should spit in your enemy's wounds after
Yes,
causing
that
them.
too. Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead and make me a ride check to navigate around this, and then also to avoid all these branches. So that is your D20 plus 4.
14.
14. Let me consult. I guess that'd be considered. I think that would be sufficient. We'll have that be sufficient. So you've used up one of your dice, and you have 3 left. How many are you using for your attack against Johan?
Johan with the crossbow.
That is
that
correct.
guy. That jerk. We're going to roll 2 dice.
All right.
That's a 19 on the green one and a 7 on the copper one.
All right. So with your long sword, that puts you. You say you rolled a 17?
Yeah.
Plus 11, so it'd make you a 28. So you get an artful strike, so that's 2d10 plus 2 damage. Are you doing that as piercing like last time?
Yeah. Same horse position. So.
All right. Go ahead and roll me that. 2d10 plus 2.
Better. Okay, so 7, 6 are my 2 numbers I rolled. So 13 plus 2. So 15.
15 points. So you feel resistance from his gothic half armor as you lunge your sword into him, but you feel it give way and you sink into his meat. So you inflict 5 points of damage against him, and he just grits his teeth, and you see him begin to raise his crossbow at you. Next initiative is the man with the dagger. So he is standing, you're in between Yan and Lothar, Jose. So he also spits back some vile epithets in his own native language, meeting you colorful word for colorful word. That also involves a lot of spit and cursing. He lunges at you with the Ruger, hopefully to try to grapple you. So he first makes a wild slash before he attempts to grapple you. His first attack goes absolutely wide, and then he attempts to grapple you. So you get a free attack of opportunity. It would cost you 1 die, but no, that's a grapple. You get a attack of opportunity at 1 die against him. So if you want to go ahead and make that, Jose.
Okay.
You can add more dice now if you want, but it will take it away from
Well,
your
actually, I have Schnapp it. Use the opponent's MP's dice against him in a counterattack. Would this be a counterattack?
So a counterattack would be if he were to fail, but let me just double check that against the Codex. That would be...
We call this a Codex moment.
I'll let you know that the thing I rolled is a 19.
Is that after you modify it?
Nope, that's a natural 19, so we're getting artful up in here.
Nice knowing you, dagger guy.
All right.
Not nice knowing you. My guts are all fucked up.
So that's schnapping.
Schnapping.
All right. So you... he attempts to grapple you, but he leaves himself open for your attack, and you...
Oddly, there's a sword in between us, right where I left it.
He's going to try to ground and pound, so your attack hits true, and you said that your total was...
I rolled a
17?
19.
19
which-
plus your
plus,
well, okay, so you're at 31.
yeah.
Great.
Is that artful? I think that might be artful.
That is artful indeed. So that is going to be 3d8 plus 2 damage.
Oh no. Okay. $17.
17.
Fuck.
That is a lot of damage. I'm going to assume that you did that as piercing.
Yeah. I essentially just like he came at me and I just lowered my sword to face level.
So, all right.
Using
That
your
is-
opponent's momentum against him.
Yeah, the damage I did was holding still. The damage he did was piercing.
That happens a lot.
so that
Just
is
people in the
after-
moment just, oh, I walked.
After his damage reduction, that's 15 points of damage as he just King Sol's himself there, or I guess Solomon's himself there, with just this sword going through his guts. And he is pale from shock as he feels this sword just completely...
You know what? I'm going to spend an extra die to twist the blade.
Nice.
As I step
All
forward,
right.
kiss his cheek, and say, artful.
The
All
kiss
right.
on the cheek is a nice touch.
Thank you.
All right, so go ahead and roll me an extra die of damage.
Oh, an extra die, damn it. Cool. Yep, I can do that. That would be an 8.
All right, so
Nat
you
8.
lean forward and you feel the last bits of his breath against your cheek as you kiss him farewell and then just shove him off of your blade down into the mud as he just, you see like blood bubbles coming from his face.
Yo,
Yeah.
John, you just discovered a cool gimmick for a night. Just like be the one who like kisses them goodbye. Like either before the duel or during it. Like I love that. That's so great. The kissing night.
Good night.
Yeah.
Sorry, bad joke there. So
I liked
as,
it.
as he gets shoved into the mud, you hear the man with the was holding the spear, now holding his neck, scream out, Lothar! And we hear like this kind of like gurgling as well as like blood just like pumps further from his neck as he
He
tries
should
to
hurry up
hold
and
it
die
in.
before I smooch him.
So that is the full extent of your dice. All right, so we did Andreas. All right, Jose.
And I want to point out to, I think it's Lenny. Lenny? I think it was Lenny. I did, in fact, secure my horse.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is Lenny.
No, that wasn't. Oh, no, that's Trachea. It's Tim.
Lenny suggested in chat that we not forget to secure our horses, and I did do the thing. I did
That
that
might
so I
have-
could watch
Yeah,
Charles die.
It was Tim.
I secured my horse by it dying and me, well, probably dying. It's dead by now. And me
That might have-
falling like 10 fucking feet.
So
Or
Johan,
however tall horses are.
after being attacked on horseback, raises up his crossbow and points it squarely at your chest, Andreas. I believe that you had 1 die left for active defense.
Yeah.
So go
Just
ahead
gonna
and roll
strip
that.
it
So
aside.
for you, that's going to be a d20, and you're going to be adding 9 to that for your defense because
Your
you're
D20?
using your longsword. He is going to do a pretty desperate attack here since he knows that he's boned if he doesn't.
More like he's deboned if I get my hands on him.
All right. What did you roll for your active defense, Andreas?
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Thank you so much. Johan, with that loud clanking twang, fires a bolt at close range. So that is plus 9, plus 19, that is 28. Hits you at 28. So that is artful as well. And that is piercing. 3. What is this D8? Almost all the time rolls a 1. good for you guys, but as a GM, this is frustrating that I got another 1 on an Artful Strike.
I'm fine with it.
That is not fantastic. So that is just 6 piercing damage, and Andreas, you feel the bolts not even snag into your armor. It just deflects off and shunks into the mud behind you. He just looks up with you with trembling eyes as he looks in defeat as his crossbow did not take you out. He trembles and he just bolts into the woods.
Motherfucker.
Since he is leaving himself completely open, so he uses 1 die to maneuver, but that should, I believe, still leave him open for... Do you have any leftover dice?
I had that 1 die
Is it
left over, so if I used it...
So he bolts into the forest, hightailing it away. That leaves the one guy with the slashed neck and the spear. He just holds up one arm and holding the other against his neck, and it's just like, mercy.
I yield? I don't think so.
I will say Jose laughs. He laughs in Portuguese pirate, specifically.
Which is a great laugh.
Yeah,
what is the inflection on that?
Yeah.
I've never...
unfortunately, I only know Brazilian pirate laughter, not Portuguese pirate
okay,
laughter.
okay.
But
but it's close.
I'm doing a Duolingo for Somali pirate laughter at the moment.
Very good.
Look at me. Look at me.
This is my boat.
This is my.
I am the brigand now.
I am the captain now.
I just I mean, like, this is what, 1400, 1500, and he has a grievous neck wound.
1452,
No,
yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm not going to kill you. Go walk off into
Go walk it off.
Yeah.
So this person tried to stir your guts with that spear. Are you going to just let him walk off like that?
Fuck no, not me. No.
I'm not going to stop you from enacting whatever you want, but it is way funnier if we just like watch him walk off into the distance. That's all I'm saying.
It's true. Yeah. No.
Watch him walk off,
going,
and then I shoot him.
No, I'm not letting him walk off. I'm coming in with all 4 die flying with my halberd.
You should keep one of those die for keeping your guts.
He dropped his weapon.
Yeah, like, he just completely surrendered. So
yeah, like so I am now about.
You should wait until he walks. You should wait until he starts walking off and then attack him.
We should at least interrogate him.
Now that I think about it, I don't care enough to go after him. Like, he will die with that neck wound, and frankly, I think it'll be grislier than whatever I could do to him with my halberd. The way the dice have been treating me.
It's going to be completely fucked for him. He is not going to have a pleasant final 10 minutes.
Well, it depends on whether he accepts grandfather's gift or not, John.
No, this is a cornite wound, not an ergal wound.
So speaking of it, as he limps off, dragging one leg behind him as he's weakening from blood loss, you yourself are contemplating your own mortalities. You have a massive gut wound.
Yeah.
And you don't seem to have on your person any way to clean these wounds. So you have a day ride west with sucking gut wound, or you could try to go back to the inn and see if maybe they have some way to dress your wounds. So how lucky are you feeling? Have you been doing your full 10% tithe to the church?
You better believe it. Yeah, the Lord protects or whatever dumb shit people thought back then. So, yeah.
Unlike now, where everyone's perfectly rational.
Yes, exactly. It's an age of reason. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, I actually feel like I have pretty good chance of surviving at least long enough to stab something. So nothing to stab back at the end, just endless inventory and blah blah. So yeah, I'm gonna keep going. This is a suicide mission for me at this point.
All right. Well, keep in mind how abjectly painful it's going to be riding in a suit of armor on a horse with 2 or more holes in your gut. But if you want to go for it, by God willing.
This being a game stress test.
I'm going to cut open apart the dead man's clothes and use them to fashion kind of bandages and whatnot to help hold his guts in.
Do we
Is
have
combat
anybody
over?
with? Yeah, I think combat's over. Everybody's
Well,
either dead or fled.
I'm not letting him just flee. I have a crossbow. If he's taking off, I'm going to ready my crossbow and shoot at him. I am
Go
not
for
done.
it.
He escaped into the wood. Oh,
No, he's going on the road. He's heading westward on the road.
You didn't tell us we could still see him. Kill him.
Well, he's
No,
going
no,
very
no, no,
slowly.
no,
He's
no,
he's
no,
like
no.
going
One guy.
He's on
Guy
foot
with
on
the
a
neck
horse.
Guy on the neck wound is walking on the road. Guy with the crossbow vanished into the woods, I suppose.
Oh,
So,
okay. Yeah.
If he's still on the road, I'm ready. Let's do this.
All right, so
Neck
it
wound
takes
guy?
you a full round for you to
Well, no, the guy who, crossbow
Yeah, I
guy
was
who's
saying-
fleeing.
he does
no,
not.
he's fled.
He's what? He's not really. I mean, flee makes it sound like he's going rapidly. He's going pretty slowly because again, he's bleeding to death.
He
Ian,
is
slowly.
dying very quickly.
Ian, the confusion is Pashke would like to take a whack at
Oh,
crossbow
I know.
guy.
I was just saying you
But
make
you
it sound
said
like
crossbow
he's going.
guy's vanished into the woods. Crossbow guy's not the same as neck wound guy.
I'm sorry. I thought you kept saying using crossbow again. Gotcha. That's my fault.
Well,
You
yeah,
wanted to do crossbow v crossbow, but that guy's gone, right?
You could pursue through the woods if you want to avenge your honor.
Go for it.
I have no honor. I'm making bandages out of a dead man's dirty clothes.
It's gonna. I mean, yeah, that's not going to improve my situation much, but we'll try.
No, but we don't understand that.
while the two of us are occupied with my gut wound,
how many of
Pashke,
these do I have
feel
to
free
do to kill him? Like, I
Well, you have to
I
pursue
assume I
him.
can't take the horse, so I'm going to have to get off the horse, secure the horse, and then start running him down because he's going
Sure.
through difficult terrain.
If you're going to use your crossbow, it's going to take you a full round to get that
Well,
Crank
cranked, and then you're like, because this is a super heavy crossbow you're basically carrying.
So I can either run him down with my
can't
sword,
crank it too fast.
or I like shoot him with a crossbow. How deep is he getting? How quickly?
Well, I guess you need to make your decision if you're going to spend that time first with the crossbow or not, or immediately take after him.
Well, yeah. If it's okay, so for the sake of where we were at, he started to run away. Then it was out of my turn of initiative. No, it was out of his turn, so it would be the start of my turn. So making a judgment call. If I'm just now seeing him flee, I would hop off the horse, secure it, and go after it.
Sure. So I guess you're securing and going after him on foot.
Yeah.
All right. So you are battle hardened, and you're a veteran of many different wars and skirmishes. He is not as strong and hardy. So effectively, he has a pool of 3, you have a pool of 4. So in 3 rounds, you catch up with him. He is panting, he is exhausted. He hasn't reloaded his crossbow. He's kind of just dragging it behind him. He locks eyes with you as he hears your heavy footfalls, and his eyes just go absolutely wide. He stammers, and he's like, this is all a horrible misunderstanding.
On your
How-
end, yes, it is.
How about certainly I could repay the insult that has been done to you. Certainly,
And you will.
I could,
I swing at his head.
rightfully so. So you're in close quarter combat with him, and you are still using your longsword. So how many dice are you using on your attack?
So if it's been a few rounds, I aim to kill him because he attacked us with his friends. So, yeah,
He's the ringleader. Yeah.
yeah, that's 3 dice, leaving 1 for in case it doesn't go my way. That's an 11 and 2 5s.
d5s. All right, so we'll assume that you got initiative, and then he'll go. So you have a 22 for your total attack with your longsword. That we just mean that's artful, so you're going to have 2d10 plus 2 damage against him. Is that going to be piercing? Is that going to be chopping, slashing?
I've caught up to him. Oberhow to the head.
So is that
that's
chopping.
That's chop? Thank you.
It's a chop from the top.
Thank you so
Chop
much.
from the top.
So
Chop
he
from the
himself
top and
doesn't
don't
have
stop.
a helmet, so that's good that you specify that. So, So what did you roll for damage?
I rolled a 7 and a 4.
And that's an armor class of 0 for the Cabeza on that guy.
Well, that for thematic sake, we'll suspend. We'll say that you had aimed for that type of attack to expedite this. So again, your total damage was
7 and a 4 plus
11 plus. Well, so
21.
21. We'll just bypass that for 6. So that is all right. Well, so with the damage you have previously done, he is mid-word of saying something about a pouch of gold that he has on his person, but is rudely
Get it off his
interrupted
corpse.
by the sword going through his trachea, and his head just lops off. In fact, he has this look of surprise, and one of his eyelids just keeps blinking furiously, as if you have the audacity to strike down a man of noble bearing. So if you
Not that noble.
Yeah. Noble bearing? Sure. Noble? No. Yeah,
So I
okay,
feel
loot
like
the
the
body.
most noble way to remember him is to bury him deep in the woods.
So
I mean, someone's got to find out about his death. I just take his gold, leave his body there for coyotes, or not. They don't have those there. It's American. Wolves.
Yeah, wolves.
if you loot his corpse, you are able to find 7 crossbow bolts left, along with that pouch of money that he said. So you have 80 kroners, a gold signet ring that you can pluck off of his hand with his family coat of arms with a garnet on it. It's probably worth about 2 marks, and a silver chain around his neck that is conveniently there for the taking. A little bit sullied by blood, but nothing a good Warshin won't fix.
Chain around his stump. We really
If you want, you could also take his war pick, or his crossbow.
his ears.
I grab whatever.
Skull.
I leave the skull. I don't need that. You start a skull collection, you're going to have a whole wall of skulls, and it's just too much. And
A
I don't
throne,
need it.
at least. Yeah. You know.
Yeah. You got the one skull to drink out of, and that's all you need.
So, Jose, as you are looting the corpses as well, getting bits of fabric to bind your friend's guts with, on one of the villains, the one who had the big knife, on his body, you find that he has that knife is kind of almost between like a machete and a long knife. He has what else? He's got a sack that has 5 marks in it, a bag of what looks to be like beef jerky or some type of dried meat, and a pouch that has some dice and some very worn cards in it. And other than that, he doesn't really seem to have anything on his person of significant worth. You could take his armor if you want, but you're already kind of laden down. Other than that, you've got plenty of fabric.
That's your call.
Sorry. I have no idea.
So we'll just say that you're able to get the bag with 5 marks on it, some gambling dice and cards if you want, and a bag of beef jerky, probably beef, some type of animal flesh that's been cured. If you want to grab
what kind of
armor and
flesh.
weapons, but It doesn't look like long pig. It looks like short pig.
Delicious.
All right. So
I do not take it. Many Portuguese pirates and sailors were cryptid Jews hiding from the Inquisition and from the Roman Empire.
That makes sense.
So I do not take your long pig or short pig.
well played. Well played. So, Jan, you have your guts loosely bound together. You're kind of seeping through a bit, but it's staunching. So perhaps you're going to pull through until you get some actual medical attention. Hopefully, these bandages will keep your guts clean enough. So you have got a day's ride left here, and that's going to be putting you through. From here, it looks like you're going to be passing through a valley and taking kind of a long route to get into Rotterdam. So you are, Andreas comes back, and you, the three of you, again, you're going to be pursuing further into this valley on your way to your destination.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't need the second crossbow, so I offer it up to the group. We're like, hey, do you want to use this instead, since you might, not want to swing a weapon given your stomach sitch?
Oh, that's a good idea. I'll take the crossbow. Do I have to leave behind a weapon if I do that?
No, almost everyone here is armed to the teeth, and you are able to store things on your horse as well.
Okay, I'll take the crossbow. That's a great idea. Thank you. Very generous.
Arcing off my gear.
Oh, I'd like to crank the crossbow before we. Well, on the horse, you're right.
We're
It'd
on
go
air, Charles.
I'll save that for my OnlyFans later. But yeah, you're right. I probably don't want to travel with a loaded crossbow ready to rip, because I'm pretty sure those things didn't have a safety back in the day. So yeah, I'll just sheath it and on we go. Sheath it, sack it. I don't know.
All right, so you get on the smaller horse that was for your captive that you're going to be trading the sack of gold for, and you go on your journey again. So you see that the road is beginning to clear up just a bit. The mud is beginning to turn back to baked dust, and only after just a couple of rounds you come alongside the man still holding his neck. He is kind of taking a second, and he is just breathing heavily. He's very white in the face, and he looks extremely uncomfortable as you go by, and he just kind of freezes.
I blow him a kiss.
Perfect.
I'll need him to make that dodge if he dodges it. All 4 of my dice, bitch.
All 4 dice for kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you continue the journey towards Rothenburg. You see that the road itself continues to kind of wind and bend a bit. In the far distance, you see over a horizon, there's a little bit of a trickle of a smoke. Perhaps there is a village further off to the northwest from here. And you're seeing that the road, as the further and further west you're going, is more and more beaten up. There are deep wagon ruts, so lots of footfalls that have been baked into the road itself. And the road widens a bit, as if you're getting closer to something. You see that further down the road, it looks like the road is blocked. You see like a barricade, as if there are overturned wagons and logs that are kind of heaped up in the center of the road. In the far distance, you hear the sounds of some type of conflict. Shouting and feet running.
I mean, we're not involved right now. Do we want to
No.
Not
I'm
especially,
probably delirious by now, so I'm not.
That's
really
actually a
looking
very
at-
set
good
in.
point. I think at this point, since you are having to hold your guts, and every time the foot, your horse trots, like you feel things shifting in there. Go
Yep.
ahead and make me a Constitution check to see if you're able to stay with us. So your modifier.
Oh, that's not good. I rolled a 4, so
Oh, that
whatever
is
the
not
modifier
good. So
was, it was
your
not
Constitution
enough.
is 12, so you have +1. So yeah, as you are seeing this from a distance,
Dice.
not knowing exactly what's up ahead, you see Jan begin to totter off his horse. He slumps off the horse in a loud thump and clang. You probably hear things squelching inside him as he impacts, and his wounds look like they've opened up a bit. And he is almost as white as the guy who you passed.
Oh crap! Oh,
If you guys want to leave me for dead, like I have something prepared in case of a player kill on my part.
Are you giving him the kiss as well, Jose?
Yes.
do I need to leave you two alone?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
But
No
Okay.
need to leave
I
us
turn my
alone.
back and I just start whistling idly.
does he? Does Jean have an earring?
Not that color. Hang on. Nope, not that one either. What the fuck?
You-
Well, whatever Jan has him of worth, I'm going to
There we
take
go.
in order to pay for his burial in a Christian church as soon as we get to the next town.
He's still
we're-
breathing. He's not dead.
He's look. We all know how this is ending.
Yeah.
I am going to get Jan out of his armor, though.
That's very nice of you. I hate this
Uh,
fucking armor at this point.
So
It
that
did
I
me
can
no
get,
good.
so I can get
Chafed
his,
like hell.
so that I can get his near corpse on the back of my horse, and we can get him to the next town.
Yeah.
So that's what
Well,
I'm doing.
I can't tell. Are you coup de grace him, or are you just taking him out of his armor? And
I'm
giving
taking
him,
him out of his armor. I'm taking
And
him out of his
draping me
armor,
over.
and I'm letting him know if he would like, I will end his suffering if he would like me to.
You know what? I don't think. Have I had a player kill yet? Yeah, and my
Yeah,
suffering.
Yes, you
got a
have.
player kill.
Okay.
Yeah, we died in the same episode when we got
Yep.
eaten by the doodle
Where I
monster
survived,
weapon lady.
where I survived,
That's
which
right.
was
muscle
unfair
on
since
the
I was
purpose,
the one who tried to mack on a giant monster that killed you guys.
We'll do
Hold on,
this as
hold on.
the adjudic. Okay.
Jon, my friend, you're not going to make it, and I can tell this is not comfortable for you.
Oh, wait a second. We're in the Holy Roman Empire right now, huh?
That's correct.
I very plaintively ask for the Emperor's peace.
Jose, secretly a Jewish man, has
Oh, no!
idea what that means.
Then I just have to mutter like, "Kill me."
Andreas is like whistling and still whistling.
Jose nods and takes his dagger once he's got your chest plate off and slides it right under the ribs and into the heart.
It's a good kill.
How many
Excellent.
dice?
Closes your
No, I'm
eyes.
just kidding.
Closes your eyes and whispers
Needle
the
in the hay
schma.
starts clean.
Whispers
you.
the schma over you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, my character wouldn't have appreciated it, but
No.
I, Charles, appreciate it. Yeah.
Ends up removing the rest of the ruined armor, and I'm actually
Discovers that I was wearing ladies' underwear the whole time.
I'm again fine with that. I'm actually a
Yeah.
pretty beefy dude. My strength is a 14, so I think I should be able to lift his newly made corpse and secure him to the back of my horse.
Well, you'd be
don't
surprised
even
how
need to
light
put
he
in-
is after you drain him. You know?
I was not the one who drained him. I was
I'm just saying, exsanguination makes for a
Yeah.
light load, and that would
It
probably
does.
be a good place that we can pause here, as
Yep.
you're on the outskirts of like the Devil's Pass, this area that you need to pass through in order to get to Rotterdam to hopefully have a successful hostage negotiation. But you have definitely are stricken with the loss of your traveling companion and friend here, but you've probably saved him from a long, agonizing, festering death. If
That poor
only
fucker on the road, for example, he's still walking along.
He is not getting
He's
a
not getting
prayer and a decent burial in a Christian
No.
church from your friend Jose.
No.
What an
No, he's
idiot.
not. Yeah. What an idiot.
So that puts us at I guess we could do our initial thoughts and reactions to what this kind of playstyle is. Definitely a little bit crunchier than the things we've run recently, and then we can go into our announcements. And John is also with us in the chat, which is a nice bonus here. So,
Yeah.
who would like to go first about thoughts and reactions?
I will. So I was afraid I would not enjoy this experience as much as I actually did, just because of the quantity of crunch. But it turns out it was, manageable and a lot of fun, and allowed for creative combat thinking. So I might, if I were doing a new edition of it, I don't know, simplify some of the combat a little bit, but I'm sure that's, for people who are into HEMA and into like actual medieval combat and weaponry, I can see how this would be a really cool game.
As that person, man, boy, did I like this game. I want to play more of this. I really, yeah. So having actually hit people with swords and knowing that it's you go and you hit them, they try to hit you or block you, and then it's who is reacting and doing what and guessing correctly. Like, that's what sword fighting is. But the hit dice being that form factor of you do, and then you do, and then you do. So you're coming at them. Do you just attack, or do you do a compound attack where it's I swing here, then I pull, and like, okay, so yeah, Clarence, you would swing, but then you would move your arm around to actually hit the other side.
You
gonna
actually
break
have
a
that.
lamp.
You see that you have that feat. You have the Meister How that lets you combine the attack and defense.
I missed that entirely.
Well, because we didn't get an opportunity to have that actually be in play. But in that case, where you're doing that master cut,
I'm glad. Yeah,
you roll those. You have to roll at least 2 MP, and then you leave those on the table. And those same 2 dice will also then be your active defense dice for a opponent that you specify. So you're doing that exact same you're talking about, where you're attack and then pivoting to slice and defense all in one. So like, it's cool because you actually get to do that.
I want to play more of this personally. I plan on it at some point, hopefully soon.
You should rope your HEMA friends into it. I bet they'd love
I
it.
have so many HEMA friends that play D&D.
If only you had a HEMA spouse.
I know, my wife got me into it. And yeah, so
Dope.
this I'm going to be sending to some people. A
Um,
lot of people.
So I'm actually like the polar opposite of Patchkey. I want my games to like. I don't like playing humans. I find humans boring in games. I don't like history because, as someone who studies predominantly Jewish history,
Not good.
not a lot of great shit, especially in this time period. Like
1400's not a great time to be Jewish.
Which, like,
It gets worse.
part of the reason I chose to play a Portuguese pirate is because one of my biggest heroes was a pirate rabbi, and a lot of the Portuguese pirates and privateers were Jews fleeing the Inquisition and who had been expulsed from various places. Like, history sucks.
But
Can
John,
you tell us for like
can I
one?
sell you real quick? A lot of the sword masters that created like the treatises that a lot of sword fighting is based off of were Jewish. So it's a thing that you like. Come on, look into that for me.
I need to know about this rabbi pirate.
So his name was Plake, or Palache.
I definitely need to read about him as well.
Palache was super cool. He founded like a synagogue in Poland, but like spent a majority of his time fucking up Inquisition and various ships of people that were hunting Jews in various seas. He was a pretty big badass and a huge hero. Like several characters in of my books are like descended from him.
I
So
love
and, like yeah, that's cool. But most of the history sucks for what I'm researching.
But
what
I'm hearing is after Morkabians 1-1, I'm hearing Pirate Borg is going to get a rabbi pirate.
Probably not going to do
module.
like I said, like a lot of that is again, it's just not fun history.
Yeah.
And and I like epic. I like fantastic. Manus Press, when people submit stuff to me that doesn't have fantastic elements, I have zero interest in it, and I have to send to other people to look at. So I say all that to say, I obviously had fun tonight. I enjoyed playing the game with my friends, but this is not a game for John. And that's okay. Like we have played lots of games here that are not games for Johns. We've also played games that are specifically for John. So I think one big takeaway here is like, look at how much Paschke fucking loved this, and like loved not just like loved what he did, but like loved going into the details, loved looking at the history, loved considering the very aspects of combat. It says on the itch page that this was designed specifically to be more immersive and to appeal to HEMA and the SCA type people. And
jerks.
like there's a shit ton of those people, and they're all going to adore this. So that's my thought.
Cool.
I think it's neat too because you talk about the lack of the fantastical, and I think that's what also makes this interesting because not often do you see that history where you have peasants and low people that aren't very powerful, but like you have an opportunity, you could tell different people's story with this. So the game itself doesn't have magic. There are rule sets that if you want to include in the fantastical, you can bring that in. So I think ultimately this could be a toolbox where you break things apart. There's not any reason why you couldn't, cannibalize this and use this for 5e, for example. If you really
it's like a box of crickets. If you want something a little crunchier, just sprinkle the crickets in.
Exactly.
So,
for the chat, yes. So like the Codex Soprano would be where you can bring in that magic. So you can play like in the core player handbook if you want to be a like a Scald or a like a Sage type class. You could play either with or without magic, depending on how you want to run the game. But I think this was neat. Definitely something where I'd want another round of practicing or so to be more polished to get all the ins and outs. But I think that was fun. I cut you off, John. Go to what you were going to say.
I was going to say like that. You saying like what's interesting about it is the fact that it doesn't have fantastic elements is exactly my point. Like there are people who are going to love that.
Oh wow.
But there are also like you need to know that going in.
Yeah.
For instance, I bought a book called Through a Mirror Darkly a while back, which is about the Satanic Panic, which I was like, all right, cool, sounds great. Because the premise was, what if like everything that the FBI and the average American mom was scared of was true about satanic cults and all this and all that. And I got home and there's like the small print was, but none of it's magic. It's just about like humans being stupid. And I was like, oh, I'm never going to finish reading this. So, but I'm not every gamer. I'm not every player. I'm not Patchkey, for instance. So I think this seeing Patchkey's joy, especially, was really cool for this game to me.
I love nothing more than the look of joy on a young Pashke's face as he swings a sword about and like lops off heads. I mean, that's just a good time. So, yeah. Transitioning into what we all have going on, I'm actually happy to go first because my friends, have a new book out today.
Hold on.
Oh, he's taking us out of the.
Yeah,
Okay,
taking us
yeah.
out of that, and also, I'm doing those announcements.
Ah,
Ding dang.
Okay. All right.
So-
Well, you do it then.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got a picture of your book.
Yeah, before we go into announcements and promotional stuff, is there anything anyone else wants to say about the game, or
Thank you.
anything else?
Thank you, John and company, for helping correct rules. Thank you, Lenny. That was really helpful. Appreciate everyone from the Discord server for coming out and supporting us from the Codex Integrum group. So thank you so much.
And Codex Integrum has a lot of books out, a whole series of them that all are fascinating. So go check their stuff out. We have links to this particular module up on all our social posts for this. So,
all right. So, we have several announcements. The first, as Charles jumped the gun, Arcanum Volume 2 Mysteries is out as of today. You can find it at tinyurl.com/arcanum, and I believe you can get the first of those books at tinyurl.com/arcanum. Oh, sorry. This one is Arcanum 2. The first one is tinyurl.com/arcanum.
Yeah.
And it's
So
Arcanum 1. Yeah, but anyway,
you get both these books.
Yes. Yeah. And if you ever need a link to that or anything, you can always go to my socials at CRBernard on Twitter or Salt City Center on Instagram. So,
we also have a new project that Ian Servas is working on, Trapped, which is Trapped Within, which is compatible with Morkborg. It is on Kickstarter. Well, it's not on Kickstarter yet. It will be next month, but you can go there right now, Trapped Within, and ask it to notify you on launch, which, believe it or not, it helps us a lot when you do that. Finally, we have Morkabeans 1-1.
If I could just add on, the World Be so that goes live on Tuesday, and then the next Wednesday we'll actually be live playing it. So that is going to be fantastic. So that is a collaboration with me and Philip Jensen. So anyways, I just wanted to put that out there because it's going to be real fun and exciting.
And for all the news and all the details, all of our socials, all of our links, all of that stuff, you can go to onemoncast.com, where you can find blog posts, reviews, all of our socials, all of our bios, and all of that good stuff. I think that does it for us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us on this consensual journey we call Wandering Monster. My name is John Baldisberger.
I am Charles R. Bernard.
Ian Servas.
Mr. Pashke.
We will be back next week with a new game, not to playtest, but to stress test. Cheers.